This
So basically
conference
the
will now be recorded.
the agenda of the demo session is to walk you through the treasury and what we are going to cover in the entire training, and what is actually treasury. We will not go into the system in this particular demo session. We'll start going into the system from tomorrow or from the first session. The demo session is just for the purpose of you trying to understand what's treasury and what's going to be covered in this training sessions. So let's first start what we are quickly going to cover this process. We are not going to go into any details. It's a 1 hour demo. Maybe if there are questions, it might stretch a little bit more, but we are not going into details into system, but we'll try to show you the treasury process, how it works, what is the SAP specific treasury processes, and how we can uh, best implement the treasury. Along with treasury, we will be covering S4HANA New Cache Management. That's an integral part of treasury right now. In every implementation you go, cache management is done. Even if treasury is not implemented, cache management still goes on with APAR and other modules. So let me quickly start. So this is a snapshot of SAP S4HANA Treasury. Treasury has come a long way in SAP S4HANA. There are a lot of improvements, especially in the cache management module. There are new enhancements or new things coming up in Treasury, and SAP is trying to implement all of those to give the treasurer and the Treasury team the correct visibility, helping them to invest in the right way, and giving the company the much needed liquidity at the time it's needed. So as you see here, the treasury basically it's divided into the major SAP S4 HANA parts, which where it is divided into is cash and liquidity. As I said, we will cover cash and liquidity in details. How the cash and liquidity does cover bank relationship management. We will talk about a day in the life of a cash manager, what cash manager does when he logs in the morning, and what he's expected to do, how he's supposed to check the forecast, how he's supposed to make the investments based on the visibility, the cash visibility, which is derived from the real-time integration of cash management with accounts payables, receivables, treasury, and many other SAP modules. Uh, how the forecasting is done, the liquidity management will be covered. We can do the short and mid-term forecasting using liquidity forecast and cash position. We will try to cover some of those. The payments monitoring and approvals. This is one of the modules, bank communication management, that comes under new S4 HANA cash management license. We will be covering some part of the bank communication management. It's a small module, but it's a very effective module to check your payments or to keep a check on your payments. You can check the payment alerts and configure all those things. Check what are the payments rejected, accepted by the bank. In-house bank and payment factory. We'll not go into details of in-house bank. If required, we can cover an overview. However, in-house bank is a much larger and broader area to cover, and it will not be the complete in-house bank will not be part of this session. Advanced payment management is a new SAP module that has been just launched in SAP S4HANA 1909. Again, this is not something we are going to cover, but I'll definitely walk you through the overview of the functionality of advanced payment management. And multi-bank connectivity, this is again a new thing this was launched in S4HANA 1809. So basically, multi-bank connectivity uh, covers your details, how SAP is trying to build a platform where it's trying to bring all your banks into a common platform, so your all the cost and the coordination or the connectivity reduces. If you Again, it's a separate license, it doesn't cover under treasury license or cash management license. There is a separate license for multi-bank connectivity that's required. Then we'll come to financial risk, as I think one of my friends were saying in the beginning. Um, so financial risk is something which is very crucial for an organization. How the market data is integrated, and FX, foreign exchange hedging. So some of you might be aware of the foreign exchange as such. We will cover the foreign exchange, but we will also cover the hedge accounting or the hedge management, the new hedge management, using the new hedge management cockpit. Uh, I'll just come to these terms in the next slides. What are these terms and what this means? Debts and investments, the normal investments and debts you do, term deposit, term loans, intercompany loans, all those things, securities, your bonds, money market funds or mutual funds, and similarly the other securities we'll cover. Some of the securities, the basics of at least one of each kind we will cover in our training sessions. It is not possible to cover each and every instrument, but the we will try to cover each and every kind of instrument, like some of foreign exchange, securities, derivatives, money market, um, then market and credit risk. These are the credit risk analyzer is basically, it's a very important analyzer right now. If I talk about from the implementation point of view, not many people use market and credit risk analyzer, especially market risk analyzer. It requires a lot of data to be integrated with the system, the real data from Bloomberg, the market data, and system calculates the volatility and correlations and gives you an idea how if the market data changes, what is the impact of your foreign exchange or your investments in the company or your receivables, payables, everything. Credit risk analyzer is a relatively simpler analyzer that we will cover in our training. It gives you an idea of the counterparty risk. It will define, we can define the limits and use the SAP standard reports to check the limits. And definitely whatever we cover, we are going to check the treasury accounting for each of the products that we cover, uh, how the accounting flows into cash management and all those things. And on the right hand side, you have the reporting, treasury analytics. SAP is coming out with the new apps of the overviews and the new Fiori apps, which gives you a data in a consolidated pages, which is very useful for somebody like treasurer who doesn't want to go, or the directors of the company who do not want to go into the details but just check the position of the company at a particular point of time. So, if you have any questions, feel free to note them down. We can take all the questions at the last, or you can let me know. Treasury overview. So, this is something that I spoke. So, before even starting about what is treasury, uh, let's just take a minute to discuss what is actually treasury. So, why treasury is needed in a company. So, basically, treasury. So just to make you clear, when a company implements treasury, treasury is a cost center, not a profit center. The real idea behind implementing a treasury solution for a company is not to earn through treasury, but rather to make sure that a company does not lose anything using because of the unoperational part of the company's uh, of whatever company does. By unoperational, I mean if a company loses something, for example, if a company makes mobile phones, if it's losing money on mobile phones because it's not able to sell it, then that's not treasury. That's your normal business. But what treasury will make sure is that that mobile company is in multiple countries. That company operates in multiple countries. What we have to make sure through treasury is that through the foreign exchanges and through the exchange rate differences or the translations and all those fluctuations, interest rates fluctuations and all those things, company doesn't lose money. So when a company initially implements treasury, it's always a cost center, basically, which means a company puts money to and invests in treasury to make sure that the company doesn't lose from something that's not operational, that's not their main business, from an external source, as you say. And and as the treasury becomes more as the company implements treasury, when they become more comfortable in treasury, once the treasury is implemented, with time it kind of becomes a profit center. But as I said, that's never the objective of a treasurer or the CFO when they first implement the treasury. So it at with time it will definitely become a profit center, because with treasury you get a lot of cash visibility forecasting. You know what you need to invest, how much time you have, you know what you need to invest for a short term when you have the cash visibility in front of you. You know what amount you are going to receive in next 15 days, so you know that this is a surplus cash you have and you can invest and you can earn this much of interest. And that comes on a later point of time, but initial decision is always taken into care so that the company doesn't lose anything. Especially you consider uh, the time that we have right now, the fluctuating markets because of the current circumstances, it becomes even more important for companies to implement treasury. The last time, during 2008 financial crisis, the importance of treasury was realized by one and all, and it grew after that. With the situation right now, a lot of corporates are looking at implementing a core or a solid treasury solution. They are looking at different softwares where they can implement treasury, with which they can implement. It could be SAP TRM, Kariba, Quantum, or Wall Street. Different solutions they are looking at it at this point of time, because at this point companies know that how much they have lost just because they did not have the cash visibility, they did not have the correct forecast. So now coming to the SAP, more to the SAP point of view, this was in general. Coming more to the SAP point of view, basically a treasury department is divided into three offices, which we call, um, that's a front office, back office, and accounting, or some people might call it as front office, middle office, and back office. So the work is split into these three departments. So it's irrespective of if a company is on SAP or not on SAP, this front office, middle office, accounting will still remain. Uh, in now coming more to the SAP part, how SAP structures it. Now this is completely on the organization how they want to structure it, but SAP gives some standard ways of, uh, you know, uh, telling SAP tells that what the front office should do. So SAP says the front office should create a deal, they should report a deal, they should capture in case of options and all, they should do the exercise, they should do the valuation. What's meant by the online limit check. Now, online limit check is what I was just referring to a couple of minutes back in credit risk analyzer. When I implement credit risk analyzer, I know what is the limit of my counterparty, what is the rating of my counterparty, how much it is safe to do a trade with a counterparty. If I do a trade with a counterparty, tomorrow it goes bankrupt, then what is the loss and what is its probability of going bankrupt, and then you can put a limit on it. You do not want to invest above a particular amount with a counterparty. Then we talk about um valuation tools. So SAP gives a lot of standard valuations, net present value calculations, credit risk adjustment, and debit rate adjustment also. So what that does is it helps you to calculate the net present value. You, for any trade that's invested, or for your entire organization's trades, investments you have done, or the borrowings, or anything that is done in the treasury, you can always calculate the net present value. Now the net present value depends on a lot of external factors, that's considering the interest rate overviews from the bank, because it's something which is a calculation. It's not going to be, there are a lot of external factors considered. We'll explain how the exactly valuation tools work in SAP. Then basically position and deal reporting is relatively the simplest part. They have to create a deal and report it. Then back office does certain tasks. Again, as I said, some people might call it middle office and back office, and then they say back office does accounting, or some people might call it back office and accounting. Varies term to term, but the work will remain same. So the standing instructions, they say, with SAP there is a new concept that you will come across, or some of you would have worked in SAP FI, S4 HANA, they would know about the business partner. SAP Treasury is completely working on the business partner solution. So SAP Treasury does not use the vendors and customers. It can use customers. It's not that it's not possible. With vendors also, it can use with an enhancement. But the SAP recommended solution is to use business partners. And the business partners, basically we create a counterparty as a business partner, or the the counterparty with which we are going to deal with, that's a counterparty, and we are creating that in the system as a business partner. Now we have to, business partner is a bit more complicated in treasury than in finance. So we will cover what are the standing instructions, how and what how can we create a standing instruction. The business partner will be first, would be our first session, where we'll show you, because business partner is the basic to create anything else in treasury, SAP Treasury. So we would create a business partner. We'll show you how the standing instructions work. Then correspondence monitor. What does correspondence monitor mean is, now we are doing deals, trades with the counterparty. Now we have to, there is also a need at times to send the confirmation or there is a way we can get the confirmation from the counterparty if the deal can be done. So basically, it can be in PDF or it can be in the long form. Somehow, when we create a deal, that PDF goes to the counterparty. Or when we come to FX, we will tell you how the confirmations work exactly with a FXall or a 360T, which are the trading platforms where actually the trading is done. And once the trading is done there, the deal flows into SAP, and with this correspondence monitor, there is an auto matching done. So basically, uh, it just means that we are doing whatever we are doing. We are also exchanging some PDFs with the counterparties or with the confirmation centers, which could be our MyCCLS, uh, where these are MyCCLS and all these are the confirmation centers, which the counterparty also sends the confirmation there for the trade. Then we also send the confirmation. We also send our correspondence there, and that matches the deals with the counterparty and with our uh, with the company that we are doing treasury with. And then once the matching is done, it sends us back the information, and the deal auto gets settled. And then accounting basically does all your accounting, which starting from your posting treasury flows to your accruals deferrals to posting valuation, posting realized gains and loss, unrealized gains and loss, checking all the accounting reports. Everything is taken care by accounting team, which is a general way of doing it in other places as well. Now, if you just look down, we have shown here some of the. This is an SAP slide. This is taken from SAP's system. I mean system, SAP's site. So what SAP does is, what are the instruments and what are the kind of instruments, and basically a broader overview of the instruments that are there. So basically, your money market covers fixed term deposits, commercial papers. Your foreign exchange covers your spot, forward, swaps, options, futures. Derivatives covers your, again, derivatives also covers most of the options, cap, floor, swaps. Derivatives is more, or interest rate swaps, currency rate swaps. These are covered under derivatives. Your debt management covers your securities. Commercial paper you see in the money market and debt management. The reason being, it can be created in both ways. Generally the organizations create it as a money market, but it can be also created as a security. Then again, securities, you can create securities with all the bonds, warrants, stocks, certificates. Trade finance. This is also an interesting concept of trade finance, where we get a letter of credit or a bank guarantee. These are the major two parts covered in the trade finance. Not many organizations use it. It's not one of the most common used. The most common are money markets, foreign exchange, securities, and derivatives. However, the trade finance is being used more and more in these days, where we get a letter of credit or a bank guarantee based on which we can bank gives us a guarantee. The bank provides our guarantee. Our banks, it makes a we can do a trade with external counterparties, and we don't the risk is less because there is a bank guarantee involved there. So, and if you see the top screen, we have the hedge management, exposure management, and hedge accounting. Exposure management is and hedge accounting are probably I would say, one of the most important modules in treasury. Again, a lot of organizations don't actually do hedge accounting in SAP, or don't used to do hedge accounting in SAP. But with the improvements coming up in S4 HANA 1809 and 1909, a lot of corporates are thinking of moving their hedge accounting to treasury. Hedge accounting is generally considered as a very complex module, which is taken care by the CFAs and the CAs in the company, and they do not. Uh, Over the time, it has been observed that SAP was not trusted for this. It was too complex in SAP, and probably not even 100%. They do not reliable at times. But as we speak, uh, we have seen a lot of clients, including the one of the biggest clients in the SAP's biggest clients, are implementing hedge accounting, hedge management, Exposure management is something that's implemented by a lot of clients. So basically, what is an exposure? Exposure basically is your all the risk that can be there. It's further divided into three categories. When we talk about exposure, we'll cover those, but all the risk that is there. So hedge management and exposure are related. Exposure is a risk, hedge is to mitigate that risk. So any risk is there, that will come under your exposure, and way to mitigate it is your hedge. So, and then risk analyzers, again, credit risk analyzer we spoke about, market risk spoke about, portfolio risk. I have not seen portfolio risk implemented probably anywhere in all the implementations I have done or all the clients I have seen. But portfolio analyzer is, again, SAP gives a way to uh, do the portfolio analysis, but it's not majorly used and not of a high priority, I would say. Now let's walk through the treasury process. We covered it in the last slide, but just quickly running through the treasury process. Front office, as I said, books a deal, or you can say they book a deal. Uh, they make the decision. They are the one who are making the decision. If it, for example, is there is an exposure, there is an exposure. If it's to be hedged, it's done by the front office team. They do the investment borrowing, and as you see, the middle office will do the monitoring of those. We spoke about standing instructions, a part of BP maintenance. Then the correspondence that they will do, they'll take care, they'll make sure that the correspondence is sent to the counterparty, or if the trade is received from the counterpart, the correspondence is received. And then back office or accounting in this view, again, the terms might differ, but uh, it's generally front office, middle office, and back office. And the posting or the payment run is done by your back office and accounting. Valuations, accruals, everything is done by accounting. Again, there are a lot of clients where I have seen that even the front office team is completing this entire process, and the back office and account, there are only two teams, and the back office and the accounting team is just validating everything is correct. Then now we are just moving into more into SAP. Uh, SAP is data. What's SAP doing? What's SAP Transaction Manager? So basically, SAP Transaction Manager is one of the most powerful tools, which which helps us in. So if you know Transaction Manager, I would say you know half the treasury of SAP. So with the Transaction Manager, we can all these products or all these type of products come under Transaction Manager. So Transaction Manager is a tool where we can create our deals, we can settle our deals, we can uh, perform the correspondence, we can do the check the accounting, we can check the payments, we can check everything from this tool. We can check, in case of errors, we can check the errors, the position, if the something is booked into position or not. So everything comes under Transaction Manager. um, this is the one where we will create the deals starting with the Transaction Manager. uh, the settle We'll settle the deals, we will do the accounting, reversals, everything is done using the Transaction Manager. Again, we will have a separate particular session starting with BPs and then move to the Transaction Managers, where you will see the configurations for these. Not going to details as of now. I'll probably take one instrument as an example, and I'll show in Excel how it works. That is what I can show right now. uh, Now, SAP Business Partner, as I said, one of our the most important the most important master data in treasury is SAP Business Partner. It's different and a bit more complicated if you are starting with treasury than finance. Um, the standing instructions are made. There are specific tables for different tables than your finance tables, which are used. Different structures are used, and treasury was probably one of the first modules where business partner was implemented. Its business partner is new for S4 HANA FI finance, but business partner has been always there with treasury from ECC also, even before that. So when the treasury was implemented, business partner was used as a master data, and it carries on to be used. We can create different roles, which is the counterparty role, and for securities we can have different kind of roles for SAP Business Partner, and we maintain the company code data. So this will be covered in the first session in detail with the system. how we maintain the account and how we do it. I have taken a couple of examples to quickly go through how basically what we do in the system. So this is an illustration of an intercompany loan. So an intercompany loan is a loan between two subsidiaries within an organization, and how it works in SAP. We will demonstrate that. Maybe I can take a. Let me see if I can open an Excel and take a example of this. Mm, Okay, so let's talk about a very commonly used instrument, intercompany loan. Intercompany loan is created in each client that you will work for if they've implemented treasury. Irrespective of intercompany loan is used by every organization, irrespective of they have implemented treasury on SAP or not. Even if they have not implemented treasury on any TMS system, they still do intercompany loan and do it through the Excels or the different ways. This is a what does intercompany loan means? For example, I have my organization is A and I have two entities here, 1000 and 2000. I'll name it as company code 1 and company code 2. So this is my company code 1000 and company code 2 2000. Now my company code 1 wants to borrow. It wants to borrow 1 million. Now these are two separate legal entities. To understand even treasury, first we have to understand some basics of finance. Company code is since I am not aware of all of you if you are from SAP or not, or from finance background or not, but just giving a quick overview here. So company code is basically where is a legal entity where we prepare the financial statements. So now these two company codes are different legal entities within a same company, which have their own financial statements which report separately. Now our scenario is that company code one wants to borrow 1 million, company code two can lend it, right? So within the company it's always easy to lend and borrow. Generally intercompany loan is a legal document. It requires some kind of documentation. So there are various ways of implementing intercompany loan. Also within a company we can do the external payments or we can do the internal settlement also. Generally companies do external payments because since these are legal entities and just to take care of the requirements of audit, companies do the external ones. But based on some countries legal restrictions, again different countries have different legal requirements, it can be done within a within system also. You don't need to basically pay to the bank and do it through the bank. Now this example, let's say that the company does it through the bank. Now company code 1000 wants 1 million, company code 2 which is 2000 has that surplus money so it can lend. Now they come into an agreement where they say that okay, the company, the first thing they will say is the duration of the loan. So they come up with the duration of the loan which can be say 5 years. It's a long term loan. We can within the system we can define it's a long term loan, short term loan. Now where it will impact is to define, one is for reporting purpose. It becomes crucial to separate out long term and short term loans. Second, for accounting, there might be requirements from an accounting team that for a long term account loan they want a separate GL account to be used. For a short term loan they want a separate GL account to be used. Now they decide on duration, then they decide on the interest rate. Let's say 1.2%. Now this loan is for 5 years, 1 million loan for 1.2%. Then they decide on something called interest rate structure, which we call in SAP. Uh, Basically, what interest rate structure means, how your interest is calculated. Is it considering 360 days in a year? It's considering 365 days in a year. What kind of days it's considering? Is it only considering the working days or all of those things? So we say that it is considering 360 days in a year, or let's say just a normal scenario of 365 days in a year. It will not matter for our case because we have taken a complete 5-year loan. so it will not matter. But say it's a 4 years 10 months loan, then this interest will matter in this case, that what is the structure of the interest rate. So now the company law, we have the cash flow. On the cash flow side, now you will see this in SAP whenever we implement the first instrument. But just to show you on the cash flow side, what is on the cash flow side, we have, this is for company code 1000, which is borrowing. So when the company code is borrowing, it's taking 1 million plus, and it's taking as of date today 07/05/07/2020, and it says that it will pay an interest of 1.20% every year. So on, what's the cash flow, this is coming in, right? Now next year on this day, 06/07/2020, we say that we have decided that. Now again, next thing here is, when we decide when the interest has to be paid. Interest to be paid, it could be monthly, it could be quarterly. You could define a manual input where you could define that, okay, I need to pay this interest for uh, after 35 days, after 45 days, right? So interest to be paid, it could be 1 year, it could be yearly, it could be at the end of the term together. So let's say yearly, interest is paid yearly in this case. Now on 6/7, the cash flow that's going out is, say, 1.2% of 1 million. It becomes this, I think. Yeah. Now on, again, this is, sorry, 2021. This you will see in the, basically in the system, all these things. So again, this same interest will go. Now again, we have option of fixed interest, variable interest, um, and then at the end of the term, it has to pay 1 million minus on 05/07/2025, plus it has to pay this 12,000, which is the interest of the last years on the same date. So this is the cash flow. This is the cash flow that will be seen in the system based on what parameters we decide. This is for 1000. For 2000, it will become opposite. First is 1 million plus, this will be negative, and these all will be positive. So basically we will know that from this, and this, the same information is also flowing to your cash management. It's equally important to understand that you are implementing treasury, and if you're not doing the cash visibility or cash management, then it's useless for an organization. Because if you check the recent surveys, that of the most challenging things that treasurers have at this point of time, everyone would tell you, every survey would tell you, cash visibility is the biggest challenge. They do not know when, what is the cash in hand, what is the cash position. They do not have the accurate view of that. So to have the accurate view of that, treasury is integrated with the cash management. Whatever we are doing here, it's flowing into the cash management reports. So for example, if I consider, I'll also take the cash management, one small example here. For example, for my company code 1000, now I'm not referring to a bank account here, but this is for a bank account. Now whatever we are doing is a bank account. This is for 1000 bank account A. My, what is my opening balance? So we are talking about this. Now we say my opening balance was, say, 1 million. 1 million positive. Okay. And then we receive a transaction of 1 million more. This becomes then my opening balance. This becomes the transactions. This is not only visible for today, but for the future dates as well, once the deals are created. So now that this is only one transaction, like this, we will have multiple transactions here. Receivables, say AR, account receivables, we say we are going to 2 million, we are going to get today. Payables, we are going to pay out 3 millions, let's say. miscellaneous just to calculate it, and then it says 1 million plus miscellaneous or the receivables, and then it calculates the total position at the end of the day, which is 4 plus 5. So 2 million positive is my closing balance. So this information, again, we will see this in the SAP reports or in the cash flow analyzer or the cash reports where this data flows to the cash and is visible there. Now, what SAP gives you, the most interesting part is, if you think about this, this is a special case again. What SAP gives you, this is a company code 1000 and this is 2000. You would think that in a general scenario, you will have to create two deals, right? SAP, and this is a pain point for a lot of people, in especially in TMS where it's not visible. But when you create a deal, we set up the configuration in such a way that this 2000 deals gets auto created. So basically, if I create a deal of 1 million borrowing with company code 1000, the lending of 1 million for company code 2000 gets auto created in the system, and it's called mirrored transaction. It gets auto created with exactly opposite flows. So if it's plus here, it becomes minus here. If it's borrowing here, it becomes lending here. Everything becomes opposite, and it becomes mirror transaction auto created. Now, how system does it? The way to do it is, now when I create a company code 1000, when I create a deal with the company code 1000, as I said, when we create a deal, what's the first thing we need to check? The counterparty. What is my counterparty? Business partner. Business partner, counterparty. So basically, system will create a deal with the counterparty, and I will name the counterparty as IC2000, for example, ICL 2000, something like that. This is the name of a business partner. When I create this, system automatically on the other side will create a data on the 2000 ICL 1000 with the business partner as ICL 1000. So that's a specialty of this kind of instrument. You can create mirror transactions. It's not only possible for only this kind of instrument, but it's majorly used for intercompany loans. You could also do it for internal forex exchange. You could also do it for various other instruments. Now, if you see, this gets auto created. When I say auto create, doesn't mean it's happening itself in the system. We have to do some some configurations for it. So when we do the configurations, we can tell system that whenever a deal is created of 1000 with 2000, automatically create vice versa on the other side. So that's done. Now let's say my investment is done. What is the next step? We spoke about investment is done. Next step is settling the trade. Settlement of trade. Generally used, not mandatory. You could directly do the accounting also. Depends on the configuration you have done. But generally, companies do settle the trade. Settling of trade. The reason company settles the trade is just to make sure to view that whatever they have created, they have not done a mistake. Because the reversal process in SAP is very, I would say, not very user friendly at times. There are a lot of reversal steps because SAP being the integrated system, the accounting gets generated at the same time. So reversal becomes a bit difficult at times. Difficult means users do not like the number of steps they have to perform if they have to reverse the entire trade. There are 5 to 6 steps that they might have to perform if they have already done the payment, and users are not very comfortable with the reversal process. And also, when we obviously you are doing a trade with the external counterparty, you have to make sure that the trade has the right, everything is correct in that. So settlement can be done. You can enable a dual control principle, which means the settlement cannot be done by the person who is creating the trade, or you might not implement it. You can say that okay, we can anyways, payment approvals are done at a later stage whenever the payment is going out. So there is already one check, so we do not want to implement another check at this point of time. So settlement of trade is done here, and then after the settlement of the trade, accounting is done. So there are specific transaction codes, or if we talk about the new SAP S4 HANA, if you just want to do it in Fiori tiles are there for each of this. So when we talk about accounting, TBB1 is done. So this is a transaction code. I'll not mention the transaction code at this point. So accounting is done. Now let's talk about the accounting, because accounting becomes equally important here. So when a company is borrowing something, Then what are the accounts that's going to be hit? So intercompany loan position account, let me say long term. This is my GL account that's going to be hit, right? So and my bank clearing, I would name it as rather payment request clearing. I'll tell you the reason. Clearing. This is the first transaction that will be hit. So basically, when the this is 1 million, this becomes your credit, and this becomes your 1 million debit. So we'll set up this accounting in the system. So basically, what's happening in this case is, let's complete the accounting just for this purpose. Now, next step is you run the payment. When you run the payment, then this account gets cleared. Basically, here it becomes 1 million credit, and your again. That's why I maintained there as payment request clearing rather than bank clearing, because I'll use the bank clearing here. The system creates a, there is a something called payment request that is then paid out. So this becomes, I'm just sorry for maintaining the debit and credit as opposite. It should be debit for credit in the general conventions. And then when the EBS comes in, EBS means confirmation of the deal. This is not the confirmation that uh, not the confirmation for correspondence, but I am just mentioning it for the accounting purpose. The confirmation of the EBS says that the deal has been successfully sent from the bank, and accounting becomes your main cash becomes your 1 million debit, and the bank clearing becomes 1 million credit. So if you see here, this and this becomes 0, this and this again becomes 0. You are finally left with IC loan position account credit to your main cash debit, because you have received the cash at that point of time. Your main cash becomes debit, and you are overall you are at a credit position in the company because you are taking a loan which you have to pay back. The accounting becomes just opposite on the other side. On the 2000 side, this is accounting for 1000. Accounting for 2000 just becomes the opposite. uh, Debit credit becomes opposite there. And when the interest comes in, then the interest here comes in as an additional account for interest when the deal is matured or whenever the interest has to be paid. So interest comes in as an additional deal. Whenever it's the deal is matured, you have to post another account which is interest account in this particular case. And then at the month end, you have to do accruals, you have to do the valuations, which we will cover. So these accruals and valuations, what they will do is accruals will make sure. So what basically is an accrual? We have to make sure that the 1 million or the interest that is paid throughout the year. Now interest we are paying is 12,000, right? We are paying the 12,000 interest. Now this 12,000 interest is for 1 year. We have to book it for each month, right? We cannot, we have to, in the accounting books, it should be realized for each month. So we have to make sure that this is booked at each month and reversed, or we can put a differential view where we can book and not reverse it. Ways of doing it based on your company's requirement or client's requirement. Two ways of doing the accruals. We'll walk through the two processes, or the basically SAP standard practice suggests to use reversal and reset. We'll definitely walk through that and just guide you on the other one, what you have to do if not. And valuation to calculate the, if this is in the say foreign currency, this is not a company code currency, this is in the foreign currency, then the loan is in USD, but your currency is INR, then the valuation has to be done, which will give your foreign currency exchange gain, loss, unrealized and realized. Um, that will be done here. All these things we'll cover in detail for the instrument. We'll cover for some of the we'll walk you through the nature of each of the instrument, but for some instruments we will cover in detail how we can, for some kind of instruments, because if you understand accruals and valuations for one instrument, it's very similar in nature. There are differences. For example, securities does have a little different process, um, because more things come into the picture there. You have discounts there, you have um, the basically it is done on the position level, so there are some differences that will be there, but in general, if you understand one, you will understand others as well. So this is one of the, if you just see the slide now, it will be easy. That's what I've explained here. It's created in the deal, it's created in the borrowing entity or in the lending entity, your option. Mirror deal gets automatically created. Settle deal, mirroring of deals, post initial flows, which post the accounting. So this was one of the processes of intercompany loan. Now again, a similar thing, I'll not go through the such details, but bonds can be different type. You could issue a bond, you could buy a bond, or there can be different ways. So what is a bond actually? Just to give you an overview, what is a bond? A company initiates bond to raise the capital. So my organization needs some capital. There are various ways of raising the capital. So one way is to give the bond. So I'll issue a bond. Issuing bond, when people buy this bond, they'll give me some money, I'll give them some interest. It could be fixed rate, it could be variable interest, and then based on that, I will get the money which I need today, and the person who is investing in my bonds will get the interest that he wants. Again, why it's securities and why it's not money market, we will cover those things and what is the difference. But majorly you can consider that this everything, when we talk about securities, are exchange traded instruments, and money market is not exchange traded. So in our case, in the when we spoke about intercompany loan, we never spoke anything about exchange, right? We never said that this is going to go in the exchange, and it's going to check our the price is yeah, so it will not check any price from the exchange market, but security will definitely check security price, right? Similarly, different ways, different instruments check different things, and based on that, security price will always be based on the, if the security price falls, then what is the impact on my bond, how much I'm losing, how much I'm gaining. The valuation becomes even more important there. And then the amortization also, amortization is something which will be more valid for, say, bonds than you say money market instruments in general. Whenever I have given, when I issue a bond, I issue it on discount. Now that discount, I can amortize that over a period of the duration of my time. So amortization is, okay, just to explain the term amortization, it's nothing but you could say depreciation of intangible assets. So depreciation is a term used for tangible assets, and amortization is used for intangible assets. That's something called amortization. This is some of the overview that I have given for treasury, considering the time I have just covered few, tried to cover one instrument. I have not even covered that in the complete detail, because as we go through the configurations and the end user activities, you will see that in details. But just to tell you what we'll cover, apart from these instruments, we'll also cover exposure management and hedge management, credit risk analyzers, which are very important, and then we will also concentrate on cash management, because as I said initially, that treasury without cash management is incomplete, uh, at this point of time especially. So SAP has come a long way in cash management as compared to ECC. It's a real-time reporting. The reports are very comprehensive in nature. The solution, if implemented properly and with all the standard issues resolved, there are a lot of standard issues in cash management that comes up with the SAP. It's a new product for SAP also. So if you compare ECC TRM and S4HANA TRM, there are very less changes. So the changes basically include your new hedge management cockpit, some of the small changes in the reports, some of the ways of capturing the deals. But as such, the structure remains the same. The background tables remain same. It's not something that's changed completely from the structure point of view. But cash management has completely changed from S4 from ECC to S4 HANA. The structure has changed, which means it's called new cash management in S4 HANA. So it uses different tables, it uses different data, it uses Fiori tiles, it is one module. If you are using the full scope of cache management, it cannot be done on GUI. You could almost do 90% of treasury on GUI, but cache management you cannot do even 10% on GUI. You have to use Fiori. So we'll show you the basically the Fiori apps that are used, the majority, the most important app, and how the data works. Now when we talk about cash management, before cash management, we have to understand the bank account management. Again, bank account management is also completely new in S4 HANA. In ECC, bank account was your FI12 was your configuration, which was with IT team. It has moved to business now. Master data, your bank account becomes a master data in S4. So basically, when even if you are not implementing treasury, the basic scope of cash management, which means this creation of bank accounts, come with the license of S4, basically S4 FI. Because even if you are implementing FI, you'll still need to create bank accounts. That's called the basic scope, and the full scope includes your entire cash management of S4 HANA. Right now, most of the clients are taking the full scope of cash management, most commonly used module. I would say even more used than treasury at times. So what does new bank account management gives us? New bank account management is again a part of new cash management. New bank account management gives us, you see on the screen, the following features which are new in nature. So we can create this. Most important thing, it's a configuration. It's an app. It's not a configuration, it's a master data. There is an app for creating a bank account. You cannot do it through GUI. It needs to be done through Fiori. You can do the mass import, mass export. There are a lot of other features that are there, you see on this screen. It becomes a centralized bank account management. There are ways of integrating it with the non-SAP systems, remote systems. You can create various, there are a lot of bunch of new fields given to, there are a lot of review things given where cash managers can review. The first, when we start to the first of our topic, because even to start treasury, what we first need is a bank account, right? Because if I create a deal, I need a bank account. So even before creating a BP, we will first create a bank account. We create a bank account in the system, and then we create a BP in the system. That will be our first class. That will be basic bank account. We will not walk through all of this at that point of time. We will walk through this when we come to the cash management. What are the things you can do? You can maintain signatories there. There is a review process done for bank account. So basically, if I talk about I am creating a bank account, no one can just create a bank account and there can be mistakes there. So SAP comes up with the standard workflow. Standard workflow means if I create a bank account, some other person in my team should approve it. It's optional, but everyone implements it because bank account is a very sensitive data. So everyone will implement it. One person creates a bank account, other approves it, and then only it can be used. Signatories is something that we can integrate your bank account management with your bank communication management. I spoke about bank communication management for a brief in the beginning slide. Basically, bank communication management covers your bank communication management covers your payments. So what we can do is we can use the same approvers for payments and same approvers for bank account management. That integration can be done, and we can other things are not really used, I would say, every time, but very simple in nature. There is a field for everything to be maintained. Overdraft limits you can be used for reports. Review bank data, we can initiate a review process where 6 months, every 6 months I can initiate a review process as a cash manager and send an email to everyone that this review system sends an email to the owners of the cash management. We maintain the owner of the bank account, sorry, owners of the bank accounts. We maintain the owners of the bank accounts in bank account management, and it will give you a data basically. You will know that every 6 months you are reviewing the bank accounts to know everything is correct. Then coming to cash position. This is something I was trying to explain even in the opening balance and the transactions and the ending balance and how it works. So basically, cash flow forecasting in SAP. So very typical terms, but in SAP you have to get used to these terms when if you are doing cash management. Cash position, liquidity forecast. Cash position means current position as of today, as of now, very short term. So position, cash position will mean short term position. Today's position. If I want to check today's position or past position or future or just very like next couple of days, that comes under short term. Liquidity forecast comes under mid term, mostly mid to long term. So uh, if you are aware of some of the things in ECC we had in cash management, we had a something called planning level. So that remains in S4 also, but to that SAP adds something called liquidity item. Now first let's talk what is the planning level. Basically, a planning level gives you the data where your data is at this point of time. So for example, if my deal is created, now this deal is just created. I have not done accounting for this. I have just created this deal. Then I can create a planning level ICL, the two digits. Sorry, so I can IL intercompany loan. So my cash is at intercompany loan level. Now when I've done the payment, I do the payment, then it becomes cash in transit, right? So the data gets removed from here, 1 million. Till the time I have not done the payment for this, it's here. Now I have done accounting, then it becomes under payment request, and it gets removed from here. And then when I do the payment, it gets removed from here and comes under cash in transit. Say. So it gives you planning level tells you where your data is at this point, where your cash is at this point of time. Is it in cash in transit? Is it confirmed cash? Now tomorrow I'll get a bank statement for this, which will confirm. Let's say bank statement 1 million. This becomes this gets deleted. So which what does it mean? That it is a confirmed cash. This is cash in transit. This was intercompany loan yet to be paid. This was payment request, which means you have done the intercompany loan accounting, but you have not done the you have not sent the payment to the bank. Now cash in transit, you have sent the payment to the bank, but you have not received the confirmation from the bank. Bank statement, you have received the confirmation from the bank. Now this was very good. Even in ECC this was there. Some of the ECC reports also you had the planning level, but now additionally SAP comes up with something called liquidity item. Now what does liquidity item basically mean is it still tells you the source of the flow. uh, let's take an example. So standard SAP does not give this in treasury, but it still gives it in APAR. For example, AP invoice you create, FB60 for example. Now FB60 you create, where is your cash? You say that planning level becomes your vendor invoice. So VI, something like that. And the liquidity item becomes AP, just to say. So this is my planning level. This is my liquidity item. Now I do F110. F110 for someone who is not aware of SAP Finance means a payment. I am paying the invoice. So payment F110. Now my planning level changes to cash in transit because now I'm sending it to the bank. But my liquidity item still remains AP, which means it gives you the source. It gives you the source, and this gives you where your cash is at this point of time. This was there in ECC. This was not there in ECC. This is new in S4HANA for forecasting. Okay. So in cash, we will cover cash positions and liquidity forecast. Similarly, you see that APAR transaction manager means all your deals, planned memo records. Memo records is something that we create a manual memo record that's for the planning purpose. So we create a manual memo record for the planning purpose, which means that this is created just, for example, your something is not in SAP and you still want to do the cash positioning for that organization or for that company. So you can still create a sorry. So you can still create a memo record. The memo record gives you the visibility of a cache, the planned cache you can create. It could be with bank account, without bank account, and it comes in the cache position. Your intraday bank statement also creates a memo record. So what is intraday bank statement? It's used for cache positioning. If now when I was saying this, I was talking about this bank statement. This comes bank statement comes next day, because the bank statement comes after everything is done in the day, so it comes next morning or midnight. So cash managers can only check it next day. But to do the exact cash position in a billion-dollar company, a cash manager would still need to know that is this what is coming in, what is not coming in. Especially think of the account receivable process, where due date of my invoice is 05010. So I am expecting my invoice on 10th, the payment for my invoice on 10th for receivable, but I get it today. But my cash manager won't know it until next day, which makes a big impact because this data is in millions. So companies implement intraday with they pay something to bank, and bank sends them the intraday statements, which even during the day they know what is confirmed and what is not. Similarly for AP, similarly for AR. So that's very important for cash managers nowadays. Almost all the big companies implement intradays also. Again, this all the information flows to a app which is a consolidated app called Cash Flow Analyzer, or which is a very powerful app which gives you the data of everything, all the days, months. You can check the data of months, days, months, quarters, everything. I'll show you the structure of this also, how this has changed, what are the tables used in the background, how the data flows, what system thinks. Configuration wise, cache management is simpler, but concept wise, not many understand it properly. And especially when you are implementing a cache management new with the company, even your uh, the different views that you can create is just amazing with S4HANA. And at times not even your cash managers would understand what they need to do, so they seek advice from people, that from consultants, what they need to implement or how they need to view their cash position. What are the different views I can create in the system? I can create a bank view, I can create an intraday view, and I have to keep those separate so that I know what's going out from my system, what's not. When I was talking about this, now this my cash in transit 1 million. Just think of this is cash in, or this cash in transit is 1 million. So this is also coming in intraday. So this is also coming in intraday, which is 1 million. The data becomes duplicate here, right? Because this is cash in transit, 1 million going from AP. Intraday is also showing that. So for these two, I have to have a separate view. Okay. So that's your, just a short summary of how it's integrated with your uh, purchase order process, or your uh, P2P cycle, purchase to pay cycle. You create a invoice, you create a, or you create a purchase requisition, then purchase order, then invoice. So this is a cash flow analyzer where it gets updated. Whatever I showed in my screens, that's shown here. How from FP60 you consider from third, fourth, fifth, how the data is updated in cash flow analyzer at the real time. It's all real time. So as soon as the data is created, it gets updated. There is no delay at all real time. No reports to be run, nothing to be done. It's There's one background job needs to be scheduled, that's event triggered, that will take care of it. Now for the similarly for the treasury, you see, you create a trade, again that shows up in the cash flow analyzer. Again, this is the process that I also showed you. Then the memo record will talk through that intraday statement reconciliation. I spoke about that also, but we'll speak in details of these all these things. Bank statement processing, EBS is not doesn't come under treasury as such. We can have a quick overview of EBS if someone is not aware, because it's difficult to understand the entire process if you don't understand EBS. But that's important because if your EBS is not reconciled, it impacts your cash flow analyzer. So EBS is important, but yeah, it's not a part of cash or treasury. It's covered under FI only. Um, then we have different apps here which shows the data. We will see these apps in the system, the liquidity forecast apps, the cash flow analyzer app with different views, how the subsidiaries are integrated, the accounts payable, receivables, payments, um, TRM. You can also integrate. These are the modules I'm speaking about because this is something we'll cover easily. But if you are implementing something called contract accounting or uh, CML module or any other module, everything can be integrated to cash position. You can see the actual flow. These are the kind of apps that we will walk through. So nothing of this was available in ECC. Then we will let me come to bank communication management shortly. As I spoke about this in the beginning, we will cover bank communication management. Um so what does bank communication management do? It helps you tracking your payments, and to to define it in one line, it helps you track your payments and EBS. That's the most important use of bank communication management. So there are a lot of additional features available, like you can put approvals in place based on, and you can define approvals. For example, if the amount is less than 1 million, then person A should approve. If amount is more than 1 million, person B should approve. Or amount is less than 1 million only, I require one approval. Amount is more than 1 million, I require two approvals. So all those things you can set up. But in general, it shows you, it's a view that gives you what are the payments that you have sent to bank, what's accepted by bank, what's rejected by bank, what's still not reached the bank. That's one kind of view. And similarly for bank statements, what's the opening balance of the bank statement in a single screen? What's the closing balance? What's the opening balance? What are the EBS reconciled? Have you received the EBS for that or not? In a single screen again. We'll take at least one session on the bank communication management. It's a very short module as such. It's not a big module. It can be covered in 1 to 2 hours, just from the configuration point of view and screen point of views. The client's requirement might vary. So this is a something that is basically your life cycle of a payment. If you have implemented your BCM, how the payment is when the batch is created, it's visible. Then you create a batch and then you create a medium. So when you create a payment medium, then the file is sent to the bank. Then bank sends the notification of acknowledgement that the bank has received the file and it is further monitoring if it is accepted or rejected. Then bank can accept the file or reject the file based on your validations done. For example, at received by bank, your uh, bank does the technical clearance if the technically the file is correct, and accepted by bank does the actual validation or your bank account numbers and everything is correct. uh, Something that I did not cover here was that in-house bank is one of the most interesting and most complicated module. um, but it's not treasury. Just to be just to be sure that it's not treasury. It's a separate module. It's integrated with treasury, yes, but it's a separate module. This is primarily used to reduce the number of bank accounts, reduce the bank fees. You can do the settlement within the company for the payables and receivables, intercompany payables and receivables, intercompany invoices. You can do the cash pooling, which will reduce the cost by a lot. It's basically a payments factory where you can decide one of your entity to be bank area and that pays on behalf of other entities. It's a good module. We will cover it, provided uh, one is that we will definitely take couple of sessions to cover the basics, but as such it itself would require 30 to 40 sessions to just cover in-house bank. So that will not be a part of this training, but we will cover some of the basics so that you know some of the basics if you are going to start something. So I quickly covered my agenda here. Now I open the forum for all the questions.
Yeah, thanks, Abhi, for a very good session. May I know what is this corporate actions in Treasury?
Yes, so it's used in securities, all your corporate actions, and we will cover all the details in your securities module of corporate actions. I'll show you in the system also what's corporate actions and basically your stock split, for example, and all those things. Those come under corporate actions. But we will. It's I mean, again, a thing that I cannot just shortly cover, but I can give you the idea that all those things, if you want to split a stock and all those things, those cover under your corporate actions. We can show the configuration in the system as such.
Okay, when it comes to BCM, is there any middleware you're using to show the status in Moni?
No. So as such, in the demo system, we will not have the connectivity with the banks and the middleware. However, we can
Hmm.
create a demo file or the test file and upload it and change the status. So basically, when
Okay.
the bank receives the, for example, if you are talking about, if you are aware of PAN001, which is the XML sent to the bank, for XML file sent to the bank, bank sends us PAN002 as the confirmation. So what we can do is we can create a dummy PAN002 and upload in the system, and it changes the status from payment medium created to accepted by bank or rejected by bank.
Okay. You use only ECC process to show the status, right?
Basically, bank communication management is same for ECC and S4HANA. There is no change. The only change is if you want to use integrate bank communication management with bank account management, that can be done through S4HANA. That was not available in ECC.
Hmm. Okay.
But there are some new apps for track bank transfers and
Uh,
make bank transfers.
Hello.
Hello, yes.
Yes. How is can helpful for like manufacturing industries? Like I have been to be part of power plant. So
Yes.
how it can helpful for treasury management? How it will work for that?
Okay. So first of all, your treasury is not important for your financial organizations only. In fact, financial organizations do not as such implement. They have a completely different, they go into much details. But irrespective of the kind of organization that you are working for or the kind of client nature that you are working for, treasury is still needed, because even your manufacturing organization, if you talk about any manufacturing organization, they will have a forex payments, they will have MNC will have employees in the other country, they will have to pay in the forex, right? In the basically in the different currency, they'll have to buy in different currency, they'll have to take parts from a different country which has a different currency, and then they have to sell it further. So if your market is international, then treasury becomes more important. And again, even for your manufacturing company, they need to have your cash visibility, cash forecast, or you can say that they need to do the investments at the right point of time. There is no point of, if your manufacturing company has a lot of cash in hand, there is no point of keeping the cash in hand without investing it. The same concept that applies for all of us as well, right? We cannot, if we I have 1 lakh rupees in my account, it's not advisable to keep it under my account and not do some investment for it. I can earn a better interest rate through investment. It similarly applies for all your corporates. Your corporates do not need to keep cash in hand. So for that, they need to have the visibility. If they just do not have the visibility, how they will understand that what is the kind of cash they should keep? If they do not have the long term and the short term forecasting, they do not know what kind of investments they should do in long term or short term, right? So irrespective of the kind of
Yes,
company,
correct.
yes, please.
Is give the position of the case for point of time, particular point of time.
Yes,
Hello.
yes. What is your
So
question?
is
What is
the
the
liquidity of the case they can know easily. For it is helps for they can know the case position for the timing, right? The
right,
particular
right?
time whenever they want.
Yes, and they also know the futures. So when we talk about futures,
Okay.
they also know what is the payables, what is the receivables. If we talk about your FI invoice, if you think about your FI
Okay.
invoice, there are invoices
Hmm.
which are paid for a period of time. Like you are going to receive something after 90 days. That is defined in the payment terms within an FI invoice. Now that 90 days you are going to receive it, but as a system also knows that from that payment terms, it picks the data from the payment terms, shows you for the next 90 days, after next 90 days you are receiving this much of money, right? So as soon as something gets captured in the system, as it being such an integrated system, it gets updated in the cash position. You can also integrate your purchase orders and sales order in the cash position as well. Again, not a general practice done by every organization, but it is possible in SAP. You can, when you create a purchase order, that also shows up with a less certainty, because your purchase order is still not certain until you do GRIR and you create a invoice and pay to the bank. The certainty is less, so you can still show that data in the cash position.
Abhi, this is
And
uh,
from
this is Farooq. Abhi, can you
Yes,
hear me?
please.
Okay.
Yes, yes,
So,
Through purchase order also I can integrate the system.
yes. Through cash position, you can also integrate through your purchase order and sales order.
Abhi,
For that
how
I
do
need
you?
to integrate with the bank account management, right? Is that necessary, right?
No, 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 no. It's not necessary to integrate through bank account management. Basically, what system does is system picks. So whenever system creates something in the system, there is a certainty level and there is a flow type assigned to it. And when you activate that, there is a separate activation needed for your sales and purchase order. When you activate that, activate means just a tick. It's not a big activation process. When you tick that, system picks all the data from that particular module and shows up in your cash forecast or cash position reports. So it's not something that needs a lot of effort as such in cash management. It's a simple process that can be done. And talking about the bank account management is a separate thing. Now, from the purchase order, if there are various ways in the cash flow analyzer or the app that I'm talking about, there you can show something in within an account or outside of an account within an entity level. So that depends upon if the bank account is assigned. Even if you talk about your AP or AR invoice, if you think of your AP or AR invoice, what does an AP or AR invoice have? It has, if you have seen the payment details, payments tab of your AP invoice or AR invoice, it has house bank and account ID in it. Now, house bank and account ID, if you don't assign in the invoice, then SAP cannot understand which bank account it is. It will still show the cash position for that receivable and payables, but it will not show it under any bank account. And that bank account, it will just show that it is within this entity, but it doesn't know the bank account. As soon as you create a or update the house bank and account ID, it shows under the bank account. So bank account is needed if you want to check that under a particular bank account, but otherwise, even without bank account, it will still show you the data within the entity company code.
So, Abhi, I have a question.
Okay. Like host to
Here,
host integration is there means is very like
Sorry, sorry again. Sorry, I did not. Was that a question? Okay, I think then we can have next question, please.
so
Yeah,
Abhi,
Abhi, are you
this is
going to
not.
cover all types of product types, or are you going to take each product type from each instruments?
No, so basically what we will cover is each kind of, so basically if I talk about Forex, so we cannot see, it's important to be, understand what is going to be covered. That's a good question in that respect. Because if I talk about money market, you can have so many different type of money market products. So it's not even possible to cover everything within one training sessions. So we will cover one kind of instrument. For example, I cover term deposit initially. So if I cover term deposit, you can yourself create things like term loan or the similar products, right? That is something that you would need to practice. I will cover intercom. So now term deposit and intercompany loan have a separate nature as such. So I will cover both under under money market. Similarly, when I talk about forex, I will cover say one of forwards. If I cover forward, you can yourself understand spot because there is no difference. So we cannot cover each and every instrument, but we will definitely cover each and every kind of instrument, like something from derivative, something from security, something from money market. If there are the instruments are varying in nature, we will cover those. But if you understand even one product, how to set it up in the system, then you can set it up basically everything. Unless there we will cover facilities. So facilities is important because that's completely different from term deposits. It also comes under money market, but say in money market we can cover three instruments. We can cover term deposit, intercompany loan, and facilities. But otherwise you can create tens of thousands of products under term deposits under, sorry, money market. So everything is not possible, but we will cover uh, basically each kind of product, so you can create others by, if you just understand those.
How do you deliver the
Hello.
lecture? Do you take the question real time, or you wait for the end of the session? How does it work in a regular session?
Yeah, we take the questions real time. So the last session, the last training we had, uh, we decided to keep the, if again, that depends on if the questions are too many and it's kind of hindering the process. If the number of people that decide to join the training are say more than 20, then we will keep the questions at the last. If number of people are say around 10 or 12, we can take the questions real time.
Only reason I'm asking you is I don't know about the other people background, but I do have a SAP finance background. But the problem is treasury term is brand new to me. If if we don't ask, especially myself, don't ask the question right away, I may not be able to understand the subsequent process properly.
Yes, so you can ask the question straight away. So of all the trainings we have taken, we have answered question straight away. But there are times that you will have to understand that your question will basically be answered as we complete the session. So for example, you ask a question that I'm already going to answer in next 10 minutes because I'm going to cover that process. So it automatically gets answered in next 10 minutes. So I'll tell you that point of time, but we will answer your questions.
So I'm perfectly fine if you as you tell me that this answer will gonna get you can get the answer in few minutes or so later. That's perfectly fine answer. But just keeping the question not to share with you, that can cause a lot of things in the next few minutes discussion. So that's why
Definitely, we can take the questions real
okay.
time.
Okay.
If it takes us, for example, if it's hindering the entire training at times, we can just ask you to wait for that particular if
Sure.
the,
Sure.
it's not getting clear to end of the session. But generally, we'll take the questions real time.
Perfect. One more thing though, I mean, so for those people who are new, especially a lot of terms you were talking about derivatives and other things, what's the minimum requirement for this course? I mean, how much detail you're gonna go in terms of the business terms and those kind of things to understand the process?
We will cover the business terms for each kind of instrument. When we start, we'll try to show you a couple of slides of PowerPoint where we mention where it is used, what is the use of that, how can you use it, what is the business scenario to be used, and then we come into the system and show you the basically the configurations. And also when you there are different ways that I have delivered the trainings in past. So some people prefer me taking the configuration first and then the product, or then the but what I generally prefer is first show the end user part so people become clear what is to be expected in the configurations. Again, depends on users. Also, something that I'll have to understand is how many of you are from SAP Finance background and how many of you are from non-SAP background. Because if you all are from SAP Finance background or some kind of SAP background, then the training becomes relatively simpler to deliver. But if some of you are not at all from SAP background, then there is something that we'll have to set the expectations in a way that there is a little more effort required from such people who are not at all from SAP background.
How you gonna handle that situation if you have a mixed bag? So you're gonna increase the number of hours, sessions, and those kind of a thing,
So
or
last session we had a mixed bag. Then what we did was that we for the non-SAP people we took some SAP finance training for like 2 to 3 hours to give them the basics so that they can just relate to basically the minimal things that are required to understand. For example, what's a company code, what's a ledger, the basic terms, how does SAP work, what's a invoice, and all those things. So we take a separate session for them for 2 to 3 hours to just bring them onto the speed. But then there is definitely going to be some extra effort required from their side as well.
thank you.
Uh, my name is
Uh,
Raghunatha, and the
hello.
questions what we are getting questions from Farooq, right? If non-finance candidates are there for the session, actually I was taking sessions for FICO. I'm an FICO consultant, and I used to take the training sessions for FICO earlier. If it is related to TRM and non-SAP candidates are there in this session, means better to go through the financial markets, bookish knowledge first before attending this. I feel that is good because the complete knowledge what we get it through this SAP TRM session
That's correct.
related world processes and all. Better to at least 1 week have a go through the bookish knowledge and what is the
Yeah, we
process,
will
what are
share
the
all the
words we
documents with them so they
get it
can
in
go
the.
through that.
It's completely what is there in the market, financial market, whatever what is there in the books. The same thing might be covered in the SAP TRM sessions also. So better to have that, have a knowledge, get a knowledge from the books, and later we can attend this session, so that you will have a complete understanding of the processes what you will be providing to us. Yeah, go
So,
through.
so Raghu, just to answer your, I mean, just to take your concern. So when we deliver the training, we let you know that what's going to be covered in the next session, what's going to be covered in next 3 sessions, for example. So people can be prepared if they want to study from, say, just want to Google it and understand what's that concept or so
Yeah,
what's a derivative. And
yeah,
then when we start the
absolutely.
session,
Yeah,
start a new
FICO
product.
was. Uh, mm,
When we start a new product, we keep 3 or 4 slides, very simple slides, not the fancy slides that I showed you today, but the handwritten slides which tell you what is exactly derivative, where it is used, a couple of simple things, and what you need in SAP. That's not every session, but for example, if I'm starting derivatives and for next 4 sessions I'll cover derivatives, then first 15 minutes I'll just cover those 3 4 2 3 ppts, so that you can just understand what is it. And beforehand, I'm going to, for example, tomorrow I'm going to start derivatives. I'll let you know, guys, that for next 3 days it will be derivatives. So make sure that if you want to study something from outside, you can do that. And also the material that we will provide is the basically all the SAP books that we'll provide you. So there's the SAP given material. They are very helpful, but at times complicated. But yes, they are very helpful for all the treasury and cash management. All the SAP given ebooks will be provided. So that will definitely help you if you want to.
Thank you,
Even if
Abhi.
you read those books, you will pass a certification exam. Um, SAP S4 HANA Treasury certification exam, you will pass that. Everything comes from those books. They are big books, they are not like small books, they are 500 pages book. But if you study those things, you will definitely pass the certification exam also.
Thanks, Abhi.
So
And one
what?
Hello,
question:
sir. You are
how many
talking
hours it
about.
will take to complete the session, Abhi?
So we plan to give like around 35 to 40 sessions, because each session takes, it's scheduled for 1 hour, but some sessions even take 1.5 hours, and some sessions take 1 hour 15 minutes. So we try to cover it in 35 to 40 sessions. And depending on, again, the hours might vary from 45 to 50, but we try to keep it less than 50 hours, around 45 hours to be approximate.
Daily or weekly, weekends? Week.
So those things, so generally what we have done in the past, we have covered like 4 sessions a week or 4 to 5 sessions a week, where we take 2 sessions Saturday Sunday and 2 sessions during the weekday, uh, something like that. But those things can be, I mean, we can speak about those things with Suresh, who is from TechBrains, and he can, based on the timing, because if there are a lot of people attending the sessions, then timing will also be a concern, because some people might not be happy in the morning, some people might not be comfortable in the afternoon sessions or the evening sessions, and
How is
based on
the
that we
future?
can.
Means like how? Yeah, understood that, Abhi. And how is the projects available in the market for TRM, Abhi, currently?
So for TRM, there is a lot of demand in the market as such, because of the niche module it is. I think you all know it's a niche module, and I would say there is a lot of requirement even for cash management also. You can check in I mean, Naukri or Google or any LinkedIn. You will see a lot of openings coming for TRM. But again, to set the expectations right, people do not expect freshers in TRM as such. So you will have to build your CV in such a way that you don't seem like a very new fresher or something like that, or you have to put in some extra effort so that you implement everything in the demo system that we are giving you. And obviously 40 hours of, if I tell you that I'll give you 40 hours of training and you will end up having a big job for implementing TRM, that is not going to happen. You have to put in, if I'm putting in 40 45 hours for your training, maybe additional hours to prepare for the training, you will probably have to put at least 100 hours extra to make sure that you are ready with it. So that is your effort that you have to put, but the market is very good. Market is very good. Lot of TRM projects are there. Lot of openings in TRM are there throughout in each organization, not in one organization, in each organization. There are a lot of TRM projects.
Yeah.
So what
Thank you.
version? What
One
version we
question.
gonna work?
Ravi, one question. Nirmala, Pratap, and Sunny, would you please respond to the message, please? Yeah, thank you. Go ahead.
Abhi, what version we gonna use?
1909.
Thanks.
So you are talking about, hello?
Yes.
Hello, sir. You are talking about one mirror transaction. What exactly is that? Mirror transaction. In
So
your session, you are covering one mirror transaction.
so mirror transaction is when we create a deal on the one side, it automatically gets created on the other side. So for example, if I am doing a trade
Okay.
with a
So,
counterparty, in your company there are two company codes. If company code A is doing a trade with company code B, so company code A enters
Yeah,
a deal and company code B.
Abhi, this is Lipon. I have one.
Hey, I cannot hear
hello?
you. Yes, yes.
Yes,
Priyanka, so
sir, it is basically, yes, sir.
yes, so we will cover the details in our sessions, exactly what is it. But basically it is just to give you an answer in one liner. It is that you create a trade on the one side, it automatically gets mirrored on the other side, which means it automatically gets created for the other entity based on the customizing configurations that you have done.
Sir, one more question I need to ask. It is just I am a FICO consultant. Fully, basically, I'm deal with FICO consultant. So how it's helpful for me for getting a job in like proper CM level 5 MNC's company and all. Right now, I'm also on MNC only. So I want to move
So
forward.
basically for FICO consultants, uh, TRM, whatever the job openings you see for TRM, most of them are like that you should know basically SAP FI. So people do not take just TRM consultants uh, because FI is basic. Most of, even I have worked in FI for 4 years before moving to treasury. So FI is needed for everything. So it's very good that you are a FI consultant. It will make your life easier because you will understand accounting better. You will understand things better being a FICO consultant. And regarding the job and all, see, you will definitely, there are a lot of openings. You have to showcase your CV in such a way that you have been working in the current organization in treasury for some time, so that you can get a good opportunity outside. That is something that you'll have to build on.
Sir, for kind of steel and like TMT bar and like ispat, it is how much is required in kind of that kind of industry, steel, power, and this kind of industry. Because I'm very
So
much part of the steel power industry. My all
yes, so
projects are like that only.
yeah, that's okay, but that does not. I don't think you, the kind of industry that you are working on. So it's a consultant profile. Consultant profile is not very. So basically, if you are doing SAP FI, tomorrow you get a telecom project. So it's not something they'll ask you that, okay, you did not work in telecom before, so you are not going. The things are similar, right, in nature. It's not. We are doing a FI implementation or treasury implementation. We are not going to build their products or something. So some kind of knowledge is always useful
Hello.
of the industry, but it's not so much dependent.
Hello.
Yes,
Hello.
This is
yes,
what kind
yes.
of product it will very much important, sir, to implement treasury. What kind of experience you have? What kind of project you have done? See, if I'm always having experience in steel, power, so in future also, if I'm going somewhere, they will put me in that line only, that product line only.
No, no, that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. You can. It's your preference that you want to still work there, or even your steel power or any company. For example, Tata Steel. They have a very big TRM implementation. I mean they have implemented TRM and it's a big treasury that they have implemented, SAP treasury. So they will also see in treasury the amount, the kind of, so basically if I talk about some modules like FICA. So FICA is different for utilities, different for contract accounting, is different for utilities, different for telecom. There the industry matters, but in treasury and cash management, I don't see a lot of. I mean, industry will not matter so much.
Hi, Abhi.
Bec-
This is
because the treasury and finance is a bottleneck. It's not a supply chain. Supply chain does matter for the
Yes.
industry.
Yes, yes. Supply chain, contract accounting, these things matter a lot. But in FI and TRM, it is not. It does not matter that much because see, even you are working for a financial company, you're working for a telecom company, you are working for a bank, or you are working for a steel company. Your client does any of these things. Everyone will have same kind of products. Everyone will invest in term deposit. Everyone will do intercompany loans. Everyone will do uh, securities. Everyone will do hedging because that is the requirement. If they are dealing in multiple countries, they have to do hedging, otherwise they can end up in a huge losses. Suddenly one currency falls down and company ends up paying a lot. And it's in, if even 1 rupee fluctuation, you think of millions, right? One small rupee in millions becomes huge because the amount they have to pay in foreign currency is in millions. So those things will remain same. It is not industry specific.
Hi, Abhi.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Abhi, the session was fantastic.
Okay. Thank you.
Very nice. And thank you so much for the Mr. Suresh Tech Brains also. So will you share these templates through mail to us for further reference?
PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah, no.
Sriram, right now I can't be able to share.
Okay.
Just share those documents once the training starts.
Nice. Okay.
So after your
Thank you, sir.
confirmations, we'll share everything. Yeah.
Sure.
Sunny,
Or just for
I think,
clarification.
yeah, thank you.
This
Sunny,
Chennai.
Sunny is going to ask the question from quite a long
Hello,
time. Yeah.
sir. How much it is charged for this all these course? Charging that fees and all.
Priyanka, could you please let me call you on that? Okay. We'll
Okay.
discuss this duration and all over the call. Yeah. Yes, Sunny.
Yeah, Abhi, from the front office, it means trading. So, where it happens in the trading transaction, either within the SAP or out of SAP?
See, basically, if you think about the real world scenario, if you are doing a foreign exchange, it has to happen on a trading platform. You cannot do something in SAP, and so there are different ways it happens. So FXall and 360T are two of the major trading platforms with which your system, there is an interface built with your SAP system and that system. So as soon as someone enters a deal there, the deal flows in SAP. Okay, through the interface, the deals flows in SAP, and you can you can set up some kind of BAPIs where the deal is auto created in SAP, or you can also create a deal manual in SAP. Now once that deal is created in SAP, then it does the further processing of accounting and everything. So in SAP, what happens, all your positions get updated. With positions, I mean your reporting. For reporting purpose, everything is position. Treasury is position. So most of the treasury, when we talk about, it's going to be position management, position. It's not going to be accounting, everything. That's okay. Accounting is needed for everything, you know that. It's an audit requirement. But from treasury point of view, it's going to be position that's going to be updated. So that gets updated in the system. Similarly, you create a term deposit in the system, you send it to the bank, right? So you send an actual payment to the bank sends you a confirmation over EBS or through different ways. So there you create a deal in the system and then you send it to the bank. So basically it depends on the kind of transactions you are doing. When you are doing actual trading, then it happens on the trading platform and gets replicated on SAP. And when you are doing something called money market transactions, that starts from SAP. That doesn't start from any trading platform.
Okay. So in
Yeah,
previous
we'll
Excel
cover.
sheet, you have mentioned the payment clearing request. So it's happening always through F11, because
Yes,
we don't
correct.
have any like the F11, like either customer or vendor. We don't have that such kind of
Exactly. It
scenario.
happens through
So
F11.
that means it will happen always through F11, or is there
That's
any
correct.
case happening F110?
No. F110 we will not use in treasury. For treasury, forget F110. It's F111.
Okay. So
Yeah, Abhi, do you
okay,
cover
so
market data management here?
So, sorry, just 1 second, John. I think, Sunny, what was your last question? Let me just please complete his answer. I'll come to you. Is there anything else, Sunny? You were asking something or more?
yeah, generally, I mean, in what cases the correspondence it will trigger?
Correspondence will trigger in all, for example, okay, let's take an example. Now, there is a deal created in the system. Now, that deal, uh, there needs to be a confirmation of the deal. So basically, you do a trading with some counterparty, right? You create a trade with a counterparty. Now that counterparty side also that trade is created. Now that data is matched in a middleware, not a middleware, actually a place where the confirmation happens. That say something called MySys CLS. You can search in Google, you will understand what is MySys versus CLS. They are used to match the trades. Now once they match the trades, they send the confirmation to both the system if the trade is matched or not. If the trade is confirmed, then the deal gets auto settled, which means that second process which I was showing, after creation it is settling. You don't have to settle the trade, it gets auto settled. So that is one example. Now there can be various examples for MySys also. So sorry, for term deposit also you might need a MySys confirmation with the counterparty. You are creating a deal with the counterparty, but you need to know that the details are exactly correct in the with the counterparty or not. So there are middlewares that can act as a confirmation center. You can also create it for your intercompany loan. When you create a loan, you can send a confirmation, you can send a document, you can create a document with the help of your ABAP team or something called form, long form, short form, something you can create. And as soon as you create the form, there is a create a deal, it goes to the counterparty's address is maintained in BP. From there it picks the address, sends an email to that, or you can do it through the interface also. So various ways, again depending on different kind of transaction, different correspondence activities are there.
Okay, so
Abhi, can you
final
continue?
one, yeah, sorry,
Sorry.
Suresh and
Abhi,
Abhi. This is the final one. As you said, like, no, you are going to cover only few product types, say, for example, fixed term deposits. But the process is the same, but the functionality wise, the behaving nature of the behaving is different. Say, for example, commercial paper deposit notice or facilities completely is different than the fixed term deposits.
Yes, that's correct.
So
So
actually,
basically
what we are
facility, that is
expecting,
what I said, we can cover some of those. Yes,
but
for
yeah, say for
example,
example, fixed term deposit is like, no, it's kind of is a normal thing. Just what we know that theoretically just we are applying into the system SAP. But coming to the
exactly.
other products, is completely is the different. But what we are expecting from that way.
Yes, but
Other than
that's not
fixing,
going to be
yeah.
okay. So I, if your clarification will only happen after one product configuration, because when you will see one product configuration in the system, you will understand the other products automatically. But you still have to understand the nature of the product, right? Now your client, when they tell you that they want to implement some product. Now lot of organizations, Indian clients, they have a lot of products which are not even in the standard SAP treasury, where you might have to just customize something or just change something in the standard product. So those things will definitely be there. But what you can do
No,
is, once you have the standard some product created, from system point of view, from SAP point of view, the other product configuration will be clear to you. That is what I can promise. Now the nature, the business transaction, the business nature of that you will definitely have to understand. But the product that you said, for example, deposit and notice or facilities, is a different product, so we will cover that. But deposit and notice is nothing. It's the doesn't have an end life, and you can just create a fixed term deposit and then you just compare it with that. It is very simple. It's not that different in nature.
yeah, from the configuration point of view, it's fine. But when we are coming to the front end, so like, no, the way
Hello.
of functionality is completely different. So
Yes, some of the functionalities will vary based on the product
yeah,
types.
I mean, until going into the system and trying to understand, like, no, then only we come to know each one.
That's correct. But see, basically, if I tell you that we will cover every product, then it will not be a fair expectation on us, and it will not be a fair comment that I can promise you, because then the training will not even end for 200 days. There will be so many kind of products, right? So there is a limited things that can be covered in a training, and then you can always try something and ask questions. It's not something that we are saying we will not answer any question for the products that we are not covering.
Hello.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Hello.
thank
Abhi.
you.
Are we get audible, Abhi? This is Lipun.
Yes, you are audible a bit not very clear, but yes, please tell me.
Yeah, actually, my question is, what will be dependency after, I mean, go live of, what will be dependency on treasury resource once it will be implemented? I mean, just like other finance, I mean, they have this separate support team or finance, I
Yes,
mean,
same.
as a overall,
Treasury has
yeah.
a separate support team. Finance people cannot support treasury. If they support, then they are not able to do that. So every company has a, even though some clients, some companies merge their finance and TRM teams, but you need TRM expertise to support TRM. You cannot have finance expertise and resolve TRM issues because even the basics
Okay.
are different.
Yeah, Abhi, I have a question. How does
Yes,
the
please.
market data management is managed? If I want to automate the exchange rates and interest rates,
That's a very
will you
simple
cover?
process. That's not even treasury exchange rate. You also do that in finance, right? So basically, you have an
No, no,
interface with the
interest rates I'm
Bloomberg.
asking.
Yeah, interest
Yeah,
rates also
interest
same
rates, I
thing.
want,
Same thing. You have an
interest rates will not
interface with
be
the
done by
Bloomberg.
FI, right?
No,
Hmm.
interest rate is not done by FI. That's correct. But we have a same
Hmm.
program, TBDM, transaction code. If you go to TBDM, you can upload the rates, and you can basically you can upload interest rates, you can do exchange rates, you can upload data, and this data also comes from Bloomberg. It's not a data that's not coming from it. The source is same. What I'm trying to say, the interface is same. You don't have to set up a separate interface just for your treasury. The interface is same, everything is same, just the kind of file will vary. So based on that, some setup will vary.
No, actually, in my client, he is using PI as a middleware to get the data
That's
from
correct.
Bloomberg.
Yes.
So I want to know what configurations we need to ensure in on ECC side, so that we have
So
a RIC concept, Reuters instrument code. Okay, so from
yes.
that RIC code, they will import the what you call daily interest rates for various currencies. So
Yes.
what are all the main things I need to consider from ECC in this scenario?
So basically, you have to first define the, for interest rates, first you have to define the yield curves. Once you define the yield curves in the system, based on that, you create different type of interest rate overviews. Like in the interest rate, you define like it's a LIBOR interest rate or a Euribor interest rate or which kind of interest rate. Once you define that, then the configuration wise system is completed. There is a transaction called JBIRM. You can go there and manually update the interest rate. But to do that through the interface, that's an interface. That's a simple interface that Bloomberg will send the data, standard SAP program will run, will upload the file from the A11 directory and put it in and upload the data. Now, if that file format, what SAP is expecting, is not same what Bloomberg is sending, then PI has to do some mapping here.
Okay, okay, got it.
Abhi, earlier you said that the corresponding is happened with the counterparty, right? So
Yes.
basically, in our system we are using SAP, and the counterparties might be banks or something parties, right? So basically, we
Right.
are using a counterparty with bank. So is there any requirement to bank have SAP module also?
Yes, banks also have SAP. In fact, bank has a different module called SAP Banking as such. So bank also has SAP
But
module. Every so you
I
are
think
asking that
we
you,
heard about. Sorry, I heard about the bank are using Finacle system. So, is there any possibility to confirmations complete with SAP?
yes, if the correspond, okay, so generally see one general case for banks, not many cases that for direct counterparties we require correspondence. The reason being that it's anyways EBS is a correspondence only, right? If you think about EBS, it's a kind of correspondence that's there. Now for some requirements, or some banks might ask you that, okay, you are creating a term deposit, send me a form for the term deposit also. So that's a legal document, we can do that. So that can be done, you can
Right.
send it through, but then there are confirmation centers there. there are different confirmation centers where bank also sends that data.
Sorry, I'm talking about basically most probably forex and derivatives parts. So
Yes.
in that case, we confirm all the transaction with bank. So is there any required? There is no specific format for each and every bank. So we are just
No. That's not correct. So basically, you're depending on the kind of transaction you have. Swift files going MT300, MT320. Those files are sent. They are the confirmation. You cannot. So again, kind of transactions matter, but these are the Swift files that standard are defined, MT300, MT3. There is a cluster mapping in SAP that is done. This is a more of an enhancement that's generally not. Overview can be covered, but details cannot be covered in a training session because these require a lot of effort and you specifically need the mapping from the bank. But overview, setup, and all those things can be done so that you can get started. But this is not a case like this is not. I don't consider this as a part of TRM. At times, in some of the clients, a BAP team is doing this. Some of the client's treasury team is doing this. More functional than this is technical. Nothing, but you just have to understand the format. You have to go to SM34, do the cluster mapping. From the cluster mapping, the data gets created, file gets created based on the correspondence configuration. Data is matched, very similar to your DME, and sent to the bank. So
okay.
now, what is the bank now? Bank is not here your actual bank. They don't do. They will also with which you are doing the. This is done by MySys or CLS. So MySys is a specific kind of counterparty which is specializing in confirmation of deals. So your bank will also send the data to MySys. We will also send the data to MySys. MySys will match the data and then send the correspondence back to both systems, to bank and to us. If the data matches, then the deal gets auto settled in the system. We can do the configuration for that. And if the deal does not match, we will not do anything. We will, it updates under correspondence monitor in SAP as failed, not matched, something like that.
Okay, and in exposure management, is there any major change which we are in ECC, or is there any major change between ECC and S4 HANA?
Yes, exposure management 2.0 is new in S4 HANA. That was not there in ECC. Exposure management was different in ECC. Exposure and hedge is completely new in S4 HANA.
Okay.
So are we going to cover the entire part of debt recovery management, hedge management, the entire scope?
Yes, we will cover exposure and hedge management. What was the other part? What is the other thing you said? Sorry.
Debt recovery management.
No, that we will not cover. We will only cover exposure and hedge management.
Okay. Then this coming to all these commodities and derivatives.
Commodities is a different module, sir. Commodities is not a SAP TRM. Commodities is SAP commodities. You have the concepts as same. You can basically, if you understand the configuration of SAP TRM, it will help you to do the configuration of commodities. But commodities and TRM is not same. It's a completely different module. It's not even a different setup. The configuration guide is only different. So it's completely different commodities. Options, when you talk about derivatives and options, if you understand that, put call and all, then it will help you to understand commodities, the basics. But commodities is not covered under SAP, not even under SAP's basic. If you check the SAP ebooks for treasury certifications or SAP ebooks for treasury, SAP does not cover commodities under treasury. Commodities is a different module.
Okay, so so the entire session is going to start in 1909. S4 HANA
yes.
only, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So that means
is basically
for money market, forex, securities, hedge management, and exposure management, right?
Yes. So transaction manager, everything under transaction management, all kind of modules. Then hedge management, exposure management, credit risk analyzer, and also cash management. Cash management will constitute at least 30% at least 30% of your sessions. So if I'm talking about 40 sessions, at least 10 to 12 sessions will be cash management. Cash management is very important and new in S4 HANA. Even if you are aware of ECC cash management, it's completely new.
Okay, so from the analysis part, only are going to cover credit risk analysis only, not portfolio
Credit
analysis
risk
and
analyzer.
market.
No, not portfolio analyzer. Market data analyzer. See, the thing is that these need a lot of market data in the system. I cannot cover market data unless I have a market data of 2 years, because what system does, if the market data analysis, we can give an overview, we can give what is it and how it is used, but in the system I cannot show it. And the reason is that I need a market data for 2 years to be uploaded in the system to even show the market data analyzer how it works, because it takes the historical data into consideration and then does your calculations. So
Okay.
there is a dependency
So
on the external interface for this, which cannot be set up in the test system on a demo box, right?
okay. So can we get the concepts what you are going to
Yes,
cover coming whatever 30 or 40 classes?
yes, we will give you the contents.
Okay, fine. Yeah. Thank you.
Will you be provide the recorded sessions also?
Yes.
And whatever the master data we are creating for accounting like GLs or BP, whether it is integrated with the FI?
Everything is integrated with FI, sir, because financial statements are prepared at the end of the day. So GL is all
Okay.
FI. So everything is integrated with FI. I mean, the GL is same,
Thanks,
right?
sir.
So GL, you do the financial statements, you create the financial statements, you have to
Yes,
put those GLs there also.
yes, sir.
So
Entity level, yeah. And
transfer
even the
to FI,
CO cost objects and profit centers
exactly.
involves, that is also integrated.
Yes, obviously, everything will
Okay.
be because it's a subledger. Treasury is a subledger of finance. Okay, so everything is integrated. Without finance,
Okay.
I mean, treasury is no use in SAP. It's not a separate. So if you talk about some of the treasury management systems like Ariba and all, they don't do accounting. Accounting is done in a different system. But here we are doing accounting also. SAP is basically an accounting system if you think from that perspective. Treasury is an addition, that is a subledger to accounting, to your FI.
Abhi, and also from each instruments just we you can share in that concepts what are the product types you are going to cover from the different instruments.
Yes, we will do that. We will
Okay.
tell you what are the kind of instruments, but as I said, that this can be updated based on the candidate's demand also. For example, I can tell you that from money markets, for example, from securities, I'll cover bonds. But if some of you say no, don't cover bonds, cover something like stocks, so I will cover stocks. But I'll give you whatever I did it in the previous sessions. I'll give you that.
Yeah, because like now I think most of the in this call they are coming from the all are from SAP consultants. So on behalf of we are expecting the expectation is a little high. So that's
Yeah,
what I'm asking that.
yeah, sure. We will cover that. We will give you that.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Abhi. Thanks for the session.
Hey guys,
Thank you.
thank you. Thanks for joining the session, and I'll be sharing the course content and the duration, and just we are planning to start the session from day after tomorrow, and I'll give you a call to everyone in the morning. So okay, so I'll be before that I'll share all the details. Thank you. Hey, Sunny, you there?
Yes, Suresh. Yeah.
Yeah, Sunny, just could you please, send me your number, text me on my mobile number, or else give me
Sure.
a call. Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
Already I shared you. Yeah, I believe you.
Yeah, thanks, Abhi. No, I didn't get it. Hello, Sunny?
Yeah, already I pinged you.
No,
I see
I
some.
didn't get it. No, okay, could you please call me?
Okay, fine. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Abhi, could you please end the meeting?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.